everyone, back to the Pommy and Us channel. I hope we're all doing really well. If you're new around here, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe. It really does help the channel out. I can't thank you enough for the support. You have been absolutely overwhelming with your support. And if you can go a step further and become a member of the channel, that really helps the channel out as well. So if you could do that for me, that would be cool. But welcome back. We're here to talk more about AFL 2024. And we're looking at something really close to my heart. The race to 17. Collingwood join us and Essendon on 16. Welcome to Club 16, ladies and gentlemen. And the talk is, can Carlton go that step further? Can they take the title off Collingwood? You know Collingwood are going to be up there. 17 suddenly becomes way more poignant now. Someone has finally joined it. Feels like a millennia since anyone has joined Carlton there. And Carlton have been in a bit of a premiership drought, it has to be said. Fair play to Collingwood. They've won 3 in the AFL era. That is a big, big plus for them. But looking at Carlton, we've learned quite a lot under Michael Voss, haven't we? We had the 8-2 a couple of years ago. We saw that we could come out of the blocks flying and then flagged later half of the year. Last year, mediocre start, to be fair. It wasn't quite convincing. Then we had the mid-season plump, and then we came home in finals. So I think the first part, before we look into the real stats and the gritty part of how you win a flag, Carlton have had life lessons over 2 years on what works and what doesn't work. You can't really come out of the blocks flying. You've got to kind of myriad it. And last season, bar them mid-season results, they hit their straps towards the end of the year, which is really where teams win flags. That is a good onus for them. They ran out of puff against the Lions after that first quarter, but all in all, that's probably closer to the benchmark of how you win it. You could argue that they ran out of wind in their sails because of that flying start, but I would also say that Carlton need to be blessed with injuries. They need to be blessed with that injury relief. And they lost some key players at key stages, and albeit they got them back in finals, that is a huge little thing there that already helps Carlton out. If they can have longevity in their list. It did feel like at times we were always robbing Peter to pay Paul. And the other one, the elephant in the room, Harry Mackay. Very down last year on goal output, it has to be said. And a lot's been made, I think, unfairly on Charlie Curnow in finals. I think, truth be told, in an ideal world, if Harry is kicking 50, that means that Charlie has easier avenues to go. And it also means that the other players have easier avenues to go. Because there's no doubt when 2 of them are going, that makes it a little bit easier for each other. And I'd also say that the small forwards need to start putting that pressure on in the goals, but also the midfield. It does seem like we're very goal-starved in the midfield, and that is something that I think if Carlton can add the avenues to go, that is a big thing. But let's look at Carlton compared to Collingwood in the latter half of the season. I think that's a good thing to look at. Collingwood hit their straps. Carlton hit their straps. It's probably a fair assessment. And the first one I want you to look at is the disposals. Sometimes Carlton do seem to have ball for ball's sake. And that's something that Collingwood do tremendously well. They get the ball into the hot zones very quickly. And that's something that Carlton in stages do, but in stages don't. And that is going to be something that is the next area of development. Being a bit more direct from the stoppage in the contest, definitely. Being a little bit more direct from the back half of the ground. You can see the disposal efficiency is negligible. It's next to nothing. But that is something that Carlton have got to really look at because it will improve some of the stats we're going to talk about. The inside 50s, Carlton do get it in there, as you would expect, with their pillars as well. It makes sense. And the rebound 50 rate, almost the same. Carlton, one of the best defensive sides in the comp. And the meters gained, very similar. The contested possessions, obviously with our personnel, you expect it. But this again plays into the disposals. A lot of disposals are needed to get out of them contests. And that is another area of Carlton, using the wings, getting the ball out into space, getting the ball uncontested. People frown upon uncontested possessions because they seem to be obsessed with this toughness and this facade of being big and hard. But in reality, if you had uncontested possessions, you'll take that all day. It means your players are fresher, they're not taking contact, they're out in space, they can do something out of traffic, and they can hit targets. And that is something that Carlton have got to really, really get, because you saw this clearance differential towards the back half of the year, particularly in the last 5 games. It kind of shifted. And Carlton did try and play that brand on the outside. But teams do know how to play, and it's adding that next layer, because it's quite easy to play at times. You just condense the middle. The difference is Carlton's middle is so strong that they can usually win that one. But it's a very high maintenance game plan. And to win flags, you don't want high maintenance game plans, because when you're in high maintenance game plans, you're running the risk of injury, you're running the risk of fatigue. And that is something that Carlton will definitely look. And there is signs that it gets better. There was that first quarter, Carlton did look against Brisbane to move it on the outside. With personnel coming back and next year, everyone having a full preseason, touch wood, that will naturally be developed in the game. And that is something that Carlton will be looking at, saying, we're a force here. We can do that. That's probably the one thing that's separating them from being good to being great, is their ability to get it on the outside. The marks inside 50 rate, this again plays into the speed of ball movement. Times it gets stagnant, so teams can go 2-on-1 and definitely be man up. This is where Carlton need to move it a bit quicker. You see Charlie Curnow does his best work when Carlton flick that handball from the inside. He goes pop, 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 pop. You're inside 50. You've got the lead. That is an area that Carlton will definitely be focusing on this year for marks inside 50, getting that handball chains, getting that quick movement. Zach Williams down the back going pop, pop, pop. Ball is out into the front half of the ground, and they're changing the angles. A lot is required there as well of Jack Martin and co on that half-forward line to be that conduit to get the ball deeper so it is more markable. The tackles, this is where Carlton, it is the barometer. When they are on, they're tackling hard, they're outnumbering teams. When they're not, they miss their tackles. That is another area that just helps Carlton churn possession and fatigue opposition. And the chance creation, -6, again, see the quicker ball movement. So in synopsis, really, what Carlton need to do is get the ball on the outside and move it a little bit quicker at times. That's the next natural development. And once that happens, this team doesn't really have many weaknesses, and it can already compete with the top 4 sides in the league. That is the bit, though, that once they hone that in, Carlton will be a deadly side. And 17 is as close as it's ever been to Carlton. They can nail that. The promised land is merely a door wedge away. I can't wait for 2024 season. I am looking forward to it. Let me know. Can Carlton do it? If you're not a Carlton fan, let me know. Is it naive thinking? They'll be there or thereabouts, in my opinion. Much love. Peace, love, and light. Palm out.
I see her rolling up, Uber black Cadillac, high heel boots and a sexy body full of tats. Baby's bad, oh baby's hella bad.